Can I go live? Can I talk?
Mm.
Okay. Assalamualaikum everyone. How are you guys doing? Good.
Walaikum
Okay.
assalam.
So, how are you guys doing? I haven't seen many of you guys in a long time. I think Sabina I saw, like Safia as well, Hassan. That's my brother's name too. How is everyone? You know answer.
Good, alhamdulillah.
Good. Okay, that's good. That's good. Me too. I'm good.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. All right, so October's coming to an end, and there's one special, not special, I shouldn't say special, but there's one big event that happens at the end of October. Does anyone know what it's called?
Halloween.
Halloween. What do you guys already know about Halloween?
They go trick or treating and you dress up.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's Athena.
Yeah.
Yes,
You you decorate your house.
Yeah, that's true.
You
I
dress
think you
up
guys summed
into
it up.
you dress up into your favorite character or like a pirate or a army.
I think you guys did a pretty good job.
Decorating house should be a little bit spooky because it's Halloween.
Good. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think as Muslims should we celebrate Halloween?
No.
No.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm gonna share my
Yes,
screen now. We're gonna learn why we don't celebrate it. So wait, if I can share my screen, hold on. I'm gonna have to turn my camera off. Um, sorry guys. Okay. There, can you see my screen now? No? Oh, I think, okay, now you should be able to. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So today we're gonna
Yes.
learn about, awesome. Okay, we're gonna learn, oh, wait, I'm gonna have to be a little quiet. People are studying beside me, but we're gonna learn about Muslims and Halloween. So we're basically gonna talk about, like, as Muslims and us being on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's team, why we can't or we shouldn't celebrate Halloween, and like the reasons behind it, and like how Halloween kind of came to be. So it's a lot of information. So if anyone ever wants me to like slow down or stop talking, you just let me know if you're ever confused. But a long, long time ago, we're going to start. This was like years and years ago. There was like a group of people, and they were from like Ireland and Britain, and they were known as like Celts. Okay, that was their name. And they practiced this religion called the Druid religion. And basically, these people, they didn't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay? They weren't on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's team, they weren't in Islam, but instead they worshipped idols and like the natural world around them. And these people from like the Druid religion, they had an evil festival that they celebrated, and that was known as the Day of Samhain. Okay, and Samhain, um, that was basically like the name of one of like that they gave to one of their gods of darkness. So for them, these people they had multiple idols that they would make themselves, like hand make, and they would say that this is my god. This is I'm gonna ask anything I want to this god. So one of the gods that they made was Samhain, and they thought that this god was gonna be like the god of dead or evil, so he can decide who's dead or who's alive, and like basically their god of darkness and evil spirits. That's what they thought. So these people, first of all, they would celebrate this day of Samhain. Ibrahim, do you have a question?
Like what did the people celebrate? Why did the people did that?
Like they celebrate the day of Samhain?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Why
get
did
to
they
that.
do that?
We're about to get to that just in a bit. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit before, right? These people, they basically first of all, let's just say this. When do you guys celebrate New Year? Like New Year is January 1st, right? These people, November 1st was their New Year. So that means on October 31st, that would be like the day before New Year for them. Like that was like New Year's Eve for them. And that's when they would celebrate the day of Samhain. Okay, and now Ibrahim, I'm going to answer your question. So the people, they basically, the day of Samhain, they believed that like the dead souls and evil spirits from the people of the last year would come back to attack their families. So basically, they thought that everyone who passed away or like died within the last year, their ghosts are going to come back and haunt them. Okay, and a lot of times when you see movies about Halloween, that's what they talk about. They talk about ghosts, they talk about that sort of stuff. But these people, they believed that that was real. They actually thought that ghosts of other people were going to come back to attack their families. So these people, the Druid people, they thought that they needed to make these dead souls happy, or else, they would bring bad stuff or death to their family, right? So they wanted to make these souls happy, and to do that, they would basically dress up in different masks and costumes and offer these ghosts foods and drinks on the 31st night of October, because they thought if they made these ghosts happy, they would leave them alone and they wouldn't attack their families. Right? Shanza, do you have a question?
Can you slow down?
Sorry, I'll slow down again. All right, I'll talk slower. Thank you. Okay. Well, did you want me to repeat anything, Shanza?
About the part where they would like celebrate the holiday?
To celebrate the holiday? Yeah. So basically, the people at that time, they basically thought that there's going to be evil spirits that come on October 31st. So they thought that the people who died in the last year, they thought that those people, they're going to come back as ghosts and like haunt their families. Okay. So they were scared. They thought that there's going to be like ghosts and like evil spirits attacking their families. So they wanted to make these spirits happy. And to do that, they would dress up in like costumes and masks, and they would put food outside of their houses so that the ghosts would be happy and leave their families alone. Okay. I'm gonna answer one question and then we're gonna get going. So Abdurrahman, do you have a question?
Why did they have to celebrate Halloween on 31st?
For them, that was like their New Year's Eve. So, for us, how we celebrate New Year on January 1st. So, for these people, November 1st was when they started their new year. So, October 31st, that was like their New Year's Eve. And that's when they thought that Samhain and like evil spirits were going to come. I don't know why they chose October 31st, but it happened to be. So they thought that this was the day that evil spirits were going to come and attack their families. Ibrahim, I'm going to get to your question in a bit. I'm going to finish this slide right now, and then I'll answer everyone's questions. That sound good?
Yeah, just continue your lesson. I'm waiting.
Okay, thank you. All right. So basically, so now we know like these people, they thought that there was going to be ghosts that come to attack them. And there's different narrations that people believe. There's different ways that they thought that would happen. Some people thought that there's going to be like actual demons and ghosts that would be like walking on earth as like normal people. And other people, they believed that Samhain himself, like the god that they talked about, that they believed was like the god of evil, they thought that on October 31st, Samhain would come himself and capture the souls and take them to hell, which is crazy, but that's what they believed. So basically, they believed that October 31st was like the day where people would celebrate death and like hell and evil stuff, right? Which is honestly all the stuff that we associate with Halloween now. And for some people, there's people in the world. So you know how there's people like us who we worship, as Muslims, we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These people in the Druid religion, they worship idols. There's people around the world who worship all sorts of stuff. And there's still some important who worship the shaitan, right? And there's still people like that who exist right now. There's some people who still worship and they follow the footsteps of shaitan. And so for these people, October 31st is still a very, very important night. Like, for Muslims, how for us, Eid is really important, Ramadan is really important. For people who are on shaitan's team, for people who worship shaitan, October 31st is very important. I don't know who's drawing on here. Hassan, if you mind, let's keep the red pen away.
You can erase it.
And oh, I don't know how. Oh, I think I know, I figured it out. It's okay. We'll like continue on. Hopefully Hassan erases it himself. All right. Does anyone have any questions so far?
Yeah, this lesson is kind of creepy.
It is creepy, isn't it? Because these people, like right now, we associate Halloween, like even me, like when I'm looking around and a lot
I
of
have
people they
something
dress up
to
as
say,
ghosts
though.
and stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
About today, in my house today, why did the people would take out the food of their houses, and why would they think that when the people died before, that why did the people were scared that they were gonna come ghost and they were gonna take out the food outside and sell the drinks over there?
Oh, I think I understood what you said, but basically, the people, this is what they believed, right? This is not true, but they thought that the day of Samhain that they celebrated, they thought that the people from the past year who died, they thought that those ghosts were gonna come back and like they were gonna attack their families. So to make these ghosts or these spirits happy and make them not attack their families, I guess these people they would put food as like peace offerings basically. So like they would put their food outside or like put something and they would dress up and in like masks and costumes so that there these ghosts and other like spirits they would be happy with them and they wouldn't attack or do anything harmful to their family.
Oh yeah, they would think like they're other ghosts and spirits.
Like other ghosts.
Is back then was some Hain real?
No, because no, he wasn't. Basically, it's like to tell you guys, like when you don't have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on your side, it makes you like make up weird beliefs. Like, do you guys think in this point, like any of you, would you ever believe in the day of Samhain or that this like evil spirits were gonna come? No, right?
No.
Because as Muslims, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our Lord and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the final messenger. That's what we believe. But when you don't have that belief, then it makes you think weird things, right? Like who would dress up as in weird costumes and give food to like random ghosts that you don't even see, right? That's why
Like
that's what
today,
these people did because they didn't have Allah.
today
Yeah.
in the apartment today, they're gonna take a Halloween party in the last room because they want to see what's our costume. I saw this on the elevator when we were coming up.
Oh, really?
They said
Yeah,
that there's a party going on, but then they said that there's only going to be pizza and treats in the party, and they wanted to say that let's see your costume, but I did not want to go there because it's non-halal.
That's good. That's good. I'm gonna move on to the next slide. Abdul Rahman, I'm gonna answer your question and then we're gonna move to this one. So, do you have anything to say?
Why did the people in the past call Halloween Samhain?
They didn't call us some. It was basically like their belief. So this was like their you know how Muslims celebrate Eid, right? For these people, they had their own religion, and this was like a religious holiday for them. So Day of Samhain was their religious holiday. They didn't have Halloween back then. Halloween for us is like pretend, right? It's like you dress up and pretend. These people, they didn't pretend. They thought it was real, so they would dress up to protect themselves. But we're gonna talk about how Halloween got its name now. So that was like a good question to lead into this. All right, we're gonna move on from that, but hopefully you guys got like the idea of like where it came from. So Halloween was actually called All Hallows Day or like All Saints Day, and basically it was shortened to Halloween, which is like I guess what modern people call it now, how we like know it. And hallow, like the word here, hallow, it was basically like a word that they used to mean like holy, right? So like for example, when as Muslims, like there's like the Holy Quran. The Quran is like something very important to us. So we put the Holy Quran because holy means something that's very good, very pure. But these people, they thought Halloween, like this event that they had, was a very good and pure holiday. So they used the word hallow in like basically it means holy for them, which we know that Halloween is not holy at all because it encourages evil spirits, right? But that was their belief. They thought like it was going to be like a holy day and like a very good, pure day.
And
And then
also,
the end.
why
Yeah.
do you have to say trick or treat?
Oh, you're going to find that out in a little bit. People, yeah, we'll get to that too. So basically, another thing that these people would do, they would burn fires to welcome these dead souls and ghosts, right? So basically, you know how I talked about how what's it called? People would wear costumes and they would put food out to protect themselves from like the evil spirits and ghosts. They would also burn fires because they thought, or like have bonfires because they thought they would scare away the souls and protect themselves from harm, right? So they do that, and there is the only thing left from that ritual is jack-o'-lanterns. Do you guys know what jack-o'-lanterns are?
No.
It's basically like, do you know, have you guys have seen pumpkins, right? So
I
jack-o'-lanterns,
saw one
like
like upstairs, like on my
upstairs.
neighbor's house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Have you
two.
guys seen people like cut out like, faces onto jack-o'-lanterns or like carve out?
Yeah,
jack-
yeah.
Yeah. And then have you
Yeah.
seen sometimes people like put light inside of it so that it like kind of shines in the dark and it looks scarier?
Yeah.
Have you seen that? So that's called like a jack-o'-lantern. That's like the name.
They
But originally, years and years ago, when the people were celebrating the Day of Samhain, the
what is this?
jack-o'-lanterns, they weren't pumpkins, they were actually heads that they would use, right? So people would take other people's heads and they would put it out because they thought that that head had like there was still a soul inside of it. So the pumpkins, they replaced it with pumpkins because they wanted it to represent someone's head, which is very scary. We won't get too much into that, but there's that. They basically the pumpkin was to represent people's heads that were cut off. So we're not gonna get that. Makes me feel weird. That's very enough. I'm like I don't want to think about that, but it's important to know that now every day, or not every day, every year you see pumpkins instead. All right. And then we talked about who was it who asked about trick or treating? Someone asked about that. But so we know like the people they would wear costumes, right, to scare off the spirits, and then they would basically hide behind like masks or costumes because they thought the spirits would leave them alone and they wouldn't be able to recognize them. So that's one thing that they did. But another thing that they did was trick or treat, kind of. But for them, it was a little different. All right. But back then, people were like afraid that that were like going around would harm them, right? So as I said, they would put out food and even sometimes offer shelter for them, because they thought that if they didn't give enough food, the demons would like come and attack them. Um, Basically, in that time, it was like in the Middle Ages, like trick or treating meant that like if you don't give me a treat, I will pull a trick on you, right? So it was basically like it was basically like a threat that they were giving, right? Like you have to give me something, like give me a treat, give me some food, and if you don't do that, you get a trick instead. And for them, the trick was like not like oh a little harmless prank. It was like life threatening. It was big and bad. So that's what trick or treating kind of comes from. You give me a treat and then you are safe. But if you don't, then I will pull a trick on you. And that's going to be a bad one. Shanza, do you have anything to say?
But you said that they would wear costumes to scare the spirits off, but wouldn't that make the spirits angry?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think what they wanted to do, they wouldn't want to they like kind of wanted to protect themselves, not scare them off, but kind of protect themselves because they thought if the ghosts come and they see them, they're going to attack their families. So they basically wore costumes to make themselves unrecognizable. Like when you see Halloween people dressing up, they wear masks, right? And sometimes the masks cover their face so you can't tell who it is. That's basically what they were doing. They were trying to disguise themselves. They were trying to dress up and wear masks so they wouldn't be recognizable, right? And then the ghosts wouldn't recognize them.
I wonder why so many kidnappings happen on Halloween night.
I mean, that's a fair point. You guys are already people are like dressed up. I guess I don't know. That's a separate story. But yeah, so now we know where trick or treating comes from. Does anyone have any questions on that before I move on? All right.
Yeah.
So, oh, yeah. What's your question?
Do people still do that?
Do what?
Like they give the treats to spirits and cover themselves up?
I don't know if people still celebrate this like
They
it's either like, I don't know if they celebrate Day of Samhain, but people like all around like you see people on Halloween, they're dressing up, they're going trick or treating. This all came back from long time ago, like what's it called, the Day of Samhain.
I
Right?
think they
People-
don't really like follow the tradition. They just want to get their sweets.
Yeah, pretty much. But some people they do celebrate. Some people, like we mentioned before, they're on Shaitan's team, right? They worship the Shaitan. So for them, this is like a very like religious and important holiday.
Like the rainbows.
I only do it for free candy.
Abdul Rahman.
Why do they have to why do they do a trick when they don't get a treat? It's just okay if you don't get a treat and you're having fun.
I mean, that's a good point, but like this was like years and years ago, right? So they thought like the what's it called? The ghosts were gonna pull a trick on them or like do something evil or harm their family if they don't get a treat. That's why they would put food outside their houses. That's a good point. I wouldn't get mad if I didn't get a treat. Okay, we're gonna move on now. We're almost towards the end. So now the big question comes. What do you guys think? Should Muslims celebrate Halloween after everything that you learned?
No.
No.
All right, so
No.
Halloween, after what we technically learned today, is still celebrated as like a religious holiday by some different religions, right? And even though it may seem like it's for fun, and as Muslims, like if we take part in this practice, it's kind of like we're honoring it or we're supporting it as well, right? And we don't want to get that impression, right? In Islam, we cannot associate ourselves from any sort of evil or like superstitious or supernatural stuff. That's basically what Halloween promotes, though, right? It promotes like evil spirits and evil things, but as Muslims, we can't associate ourselves with that. And in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says that the devil is an open enemy to humanity, right? And we learned that the people who are still worshiping Shaitan, for them, this is a very important day, right? So if Shaitan is our enemy and we're on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's team, we can't kind of switch teams just for one day to celebrate for fun, right? You either have to be fully in or not. As Muslims, we are fully in on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's team, right? And how many of you guys live in like a Western country, like where there's other non-Muslims around, or go to a school with other non-Muslims? I know I do.
I
feel like
do.
a lot of people do. Yes, me included. I also went to, or I still go to actually, majority non-Muslim school. And you might see your other non-Muslim or sometimes even Muslim friends that are like celebrating Halloween. But as Muslims, you just have to make yourself super, super strong and confident so that everyone knows that we do not celebrate Halloween. And just because you know all of this and you see someone else celebrating, as Muslims, we're not going to judge them, okay? Because who knows? Maybe they never learned what you guys are learning. Maybe they didn't learn growing up that Halloween is bad. So we won't judge them or, say, oh, you're celebrating Halloween, but don't be mean about it. But as Muslims, you guys have to stay strong on yourself, and you have to know that as Muslims, we're not going to associate ourselves with anything relating to this. Okay, we have 2 questions. So, Abdurrahman, you wanna go?
Eid is better than in trick or treat because Eid is where you can buy things way better than candy, and candy is where you just get it, and trick or treat is just where you get the candy. But with money on Eid, you can buy more better things.
Yeah, I personally believe Eid is like so much more fun. Like you get food, you get money, or you get to spend time with your family, anything. Salia?
When I went to a park, I saw Muslims celebrating Halloween with Christians.
Oh, yeah, I see that too, actually. Sometimes when I go around, I see that, but again, we can't judge them, right? Maybe they're not in Sunnah camps, or they don't have any place to learn like you guys are learning. But if maybe you can always teach them if you want. Shanza,
Where do you live?
where do I live? I live where Sister Zakia lives. I'm like her. I live where she lives, but I'm in university now, so I live like in a place called Waterloo.
Oh,
Yes. Well, yeah. We'll talk more about that later. But where do you live, Shamsa?
Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's far. It's much farther. All right. Well, I think that's the questions for now. We're almost towards the end. But this basically kind of goes over, like, I think a lot of you guys understand now, but we are Muslim, right? So, and what does Muslim mean to you guys? Anyone? We'll give like the first person who raises their hand. Just say what you, Salahuddin.
To me, Muslim means that there's only one and true God. But yeah.
Exactly. Okay, and then Salih and Abdurrahman, we're gonna get to you guys maybe in the later on, but that's basically what it means, right? As Muslims, it means that we have to surrender our wills and desires for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That basically means like if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written that something is not good for us, then we have to leave it and not do it with no questions asked, right? That is part of being on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's team. We surrender our desires and wills with no questions asked. So basically, if we want to do something, but it's not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, we have to leave it right away, okay? So like sometimes, even when I was younger, I wanted to dress up for Halloween. I wanted to go trick-or-treating so bad, but I knew that it wasn't right. So I never got to. But that's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't have liked that, right? And so I left. I didn't do it. No questions asked, or for the most part. But as Muslims, just because we can't celebrate, Halloween or Christmas doesn't mean like we have so much more fun and exciting events to celebrate. Like, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the one who chose our holidays, right? Who made Day of Samhain and Halloween or Christmas? These were all made by people. But our holidays, our Eid, our Ramadan, they were all made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. So how special is that for us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose our events for us? And for us, Friday is also one of the most beautiful days of the week, right? Everyone loves Friday because it's the end of the week, but it's also Jummah, which makes it even more special for Muslims.
And it's the weekend.
And it's the weekend. Yeah, exactly. It's my favorite. And it's Jummah as well, which is beautiful. And if you get so much more rewards on Jummah or anything. Let's see who's writing on here. Is that Hassan again? Yeah, thank you. All right. So as we learned today, celebrating any other day or any other holiday on the name of religion is not allowed, okay? Like celebrating anyone's religious holiday is not allowed. And we learned that Halloween is a religious holiday for many people, right? So we cannot say that we're just celebrating for fun because, we're it's like still a religious holiday. And as Muslims, we can't associate ourselves with it, right? We're either all in on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's team or we're not. It's not that, oh, I want to do a little bit of this, but I also want to do a little bit of that. No, we can't do that, right? Yeah. And so, have you guys ever seen, I feel like I've seen some of them, but for the most part, do you see non-Muslims coming to Eid prayer and celebrating Eid with us?
Yeah.
You do?
Mhm.
Maybe I've seen like a very few people. I actually don't even know, but for the most part, majority of the part, I
No.
barely ever have seen a non-Muslim celebrating Eid or fasting the entire month of Ramadan, right? So I
Very
feel like,
rare.
why
I
should
only
we
see
celebrate
them when like we go out to like a
when you go
place
out?
for Eid.
Oh, when you go
For Eid.
out? Yeah, but like, have you ever seen a non-Muslim celebrate both Eids and like fast the entire month of Ramadan and all that stuff? Because I mean, I haven't. I don't know about you guys.
I
But
only
if they
saw them
haven't,
celebrate Eid, not
I celebrate
fasting.
Eid. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's pretty accurate. But if they aren't celebrating our religions as Muslims, why do we want to celebrate theirs? We have the most special holidays too. We have the most special religious events. So, all right. Does anyone have any questions? I feel like there's a few. We're gonna wrap up here. You guys are all very wise. I liked coming today. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the weekend. It's coming, so no, the week's just gonna start. But now you guys know when Halloween comes around the corner, you know where you stand. All right, we're gonna get to
I have
questions now.
something
At the house.
There's one boy and one girl at my school class. They're twins, and their birthday is on Halloween.
Never. Well, hopefully
Halloween's on
they-
Thursday.
on Thursday. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, Sophia,
I
you wanna
thought
say something?
the
Oh wait,
Jewish
hold on.
day
Make sure
was
you
on
guys have your hand.
Thursday. I thought the Jewish day was on Thursday last time. Last time the
Okay,
Jewish
wait, hold on.
was on Thursday.
Hold on. Okay, we're gonna mute you, okay? We're gonna have Sophia talk first.
My school doesn't have school on Halloween.
That's perfect. Oh my goodness. You get to like chill at home on a
Yeah.
Thursday. That's very fun. I wish that was me. Abdurrahman?
What happens if you are half Muslim and half Christian?
We're gonna, how about you ask that to, I don't know how to answer that. Interesting question. Well, maybe you can ask that to like Sister Zakia if she's there. Who else is it? Ibrahim?
Yes, I wanted to say that Eid is more better than Halloween. That if you celebrate Halloween, then that means you are a non-Muslim. And last time when we were going to a field trip with my classmates, we saw a lot of pumpkins there. So then we took a little pictures with my school.
And pumpkins are pretty good. It's just that they, when they carve out the stuff and they make it into jack-o'-lanterns, that's when it becomes a little questionable. But pumpkin seeds are good if you guys have ever tried. You should try pumpkin seeds.
No, but we were just taking a picture behind the pumpkins,
Yeah, like was it like a pumpkin patch?
No, it wasn't like a pumpkin patch, but we're just taking a photo of us. Like we were just taking a photo behind the pumpkins, and that it was just a Halloween decoration or a festival.
That's very interesting. Saleha, you want to say something?
My school is a Muslim school, so it doesn't celebrate Halloween.
Oh, you're very lucky. That's actually really nice.
Alhamdulillah.
Shamsa? Alhamdulillah, that's really good.
You look like you're at school.
I am at school. Abdurrahman?
I want to say something.
My school is 70% Muslim and 30% Christian.
I think we can save that question for someone who's better at answering that. I don't know too much about that
Shouldn't you
stuff,
be
okay?
at home? It's the weekend
Abdurrahman.
now.
Abdurrahman.
Question.
Assalamu alaikum, Abdurrahman.
Yes.
You can either be a Muslim or not. There is no half and half. You know when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Makkah, right? Abu Jahl and his friends, they came and they said, okay, you don't want money, you don't want anything, and you are going to keep saying that Allah is one, so let's make a deal. One day we will all believe that Allah is one, and that one day we'll believe that the idols are gods. And then next day we'll believe Allah is one, and then the fourth day we'll all believe that idols are God. So let's switch the days. 50-50. What did Prophet Muhammad SAW say? What surah came? You know what surah came?
Surah Kafirun.
Yes, mashallah. Surah Kafirun came. That for you is your religion and for me is mine. We cannot do half and half. You can't. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's color is one color. It's not tie-dye. Okay? Does it answer your question, Abdurrahman? And Sister Michelle did tell you this. Michelle, remember you said that we are either in or out?
Yeah, I think his question just confused me.
So the,
I was gonna bring it up, but then I was like, I think someone more experienced should say that.
but you did already say that.
Yeah, like you can't be fully in or fully out.
You can be half in or half out. You have to choose one. Okay? Okay, I'll give the mic back to you and Salahuddin.
I think we just have Salahuddin, so you can end us off.
I think for his question, half. It would be disrespectful to both religions if it were to be half.
Yeah, I agree. That was a good point. I think that wraps it up. Does anyone else have anything to say? I don't know if they still do breakout rooms, but I think that's pretty much it from me. It was
Sister
nice to be
Zakia,
back.
do we have breakout rooms?
Bye.
Yes, let's
Oh,
close
you
this
do have
live
breakout
session,
rooms.
inshallah, and stop the recording, and then inshallah we'll.
I thought
Bye.
What do we want to say to Sister Michelle?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck for her
Thank
exams.
you.
I think she's gonna have exams soon. She's in mid.
I finished my exams, so I have them in November now.
Okay. May God
November.
protect
May God for me.
you.
Jazakallah khair.
Breakout
Inshallah, guys. Sister Michelle was in Sunshine, just like you. And then she was in Rising Star, just like you. And now she's teaching. So inshallah, one day you're going to be teaching soon. Get ready for that, okay?
Do we have breakout rooms though?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.